Welcome back tuning into today's video. I'm a bit late with today's video, so it's more of an afternoon, evening video than a typical morning one. But anyway, thanks for tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the coming week to 10 days in today's video. Now, we've really plunged down into autumnal type conditions today. In fact, it feels a little bit wintry, really, with a cold and strong northerly wind blowing, and temperatures are good 5 degrees lower across most parts of the country than they were just a couple of days ago. In fact, some places in the south up to 10 degrees lower than a couple of days ago. So a big change has taken place. It's going to stay pretty cool, really, for the coming few days. I think as we go through next week, we probably see signs that it's going to turn a little bit less cold, a little bit milder. But it's going to stay quite unsettled, and I think we are going to have quite a bit of rain over the coming week or so. Anyway, before I get on with that, I just want to talk about the advertising. Now, there's video ads on all my pages at GazWebVids.com. The video ad here on my homepage is sitting just above this video. It's a small video ad box. If you press play on that video ad, you'll be supporting GazWebVids.com, and that's what you have to do, just play the ad, and as I say, you are supporting GazWebVids by doing that, so thanks very much for doing that. So let's just have a look at the weather observations for today. We're going to start with website xcweather.co.uk. Very windy in the east today. These red arrows, large arrows, indicating some really strong gusts of wind. We've got speeds there going up to 39 to 53 miles per hour down the east coast, so up to strong, certainly maybe up to gale force around some of those east coastal areas, and many east parts of the country having a really strong wind. Today it's also very, very cool, with temperatures in the east, well, barely getting up to double figures there at Flyling-Dales, I think that is. It's only 7 degrees. Going down to Leconfield, it's just at 10 degrees, and so on through in towards Hull Beach, 10 degrees, barely getting into double figures. Even at Bedford, we're just getting up to 11 degrees at Cranfield, and as I said, Bedford just 10 degrees, and that's where the land haven't got quite such a strong wind there. So temperatures barely getting into double figures across much of central eastern United Kingdom, and those strong northerly winds, it certainly is feeling very, very cold. And for the temperature anomalies for the coming week, taking us from Thursday the 10th to Thursday the 17th of October, we're going to be below average actually, with temperatures not substantially below average, but anything from around 0 to 2 degrees below average. It is going to be very cool for the next few days, and we can see this showing up nicely on the GFS temperature ensembles. These are for the upper atmosphere, but they are useful for down on the surface, and the red line is where we should be at this time of year. We see that we're well below the red line now. It is very cool in terms of the air that's coming down with this northerly wind. Things will pick up a little bit as we go into the end of the week and the start of the weekend. That's as an area of low pressure comes in off the North Sea and brings some slightly moderated cool air in off the quite warm North Sea. The North Sea is about at its warmest. Now, you won't probably feel any difference. This is for the upper air down on the surface, because it'll be cloudy and raining for east parts of the country. You probably won't feel much difference, to be honest, but the temperatures will lift up a little bit in the upper atmosphere. Then they'll cool off again as we go into the start of next week, and stay pretty cool for the first part of next week anyway. Once we get to around the 16th, 17th of October, which is from around Wednesday, Thursday next week, we do lift those temperatures up, and it actually goes warmer for a time. Now, not back to the sort of temperatures we had we had earlier in the week and through the weekend and last week, but nevertheless, temperatures will pick up. We'll lose the cooler weather by the look of it. But very unsettled even with that pickup in the temperatures. Look how many precipitation spikes we've got showing up here for the next week. This is the ensemble for London, and lots of wet weather. This wet weather in the early part of the ensemble is low pressure coming in off the North Sea, bringing rain in from the east. The rest of this, a lot of rain and precipitation through the second half of the ensemble. That's rain coming in off the Atlantic with quite deep areas of low pressure out to the west of the country. So this is the Stochastic pressure chart from the GFS model for Tuesday, and we've still got the blocking. That's the main thing. Still got blocking up to the north of the country. The low pressure is trying to come in from the west. So certainly up to Tuesday, we're keeping blocking to the north. We're keeping on the cool side of the jet stream. Now, as we run through next week, through the middle of next week, anyway, we're going to find this low pressure trying to push in from the Atlantic. Could be a bit of a struggle, but eventually the GFS wants to bring this low pressure through through across the country. Although even as we get through to the end of next week, which is Friday the 18th of October, but suggests that we've still got quite a lot of blocking to the north around Greenland. We've got a 1,030 millibar area of high pressure up over Greenland. So it wouldn't take much, to be honest, for this low pressure to be stalling in the Atlantic. But in any case, we're in a southerly flow by the end of next week, based on this morning's GFS model, and that will be bringing weather fronts in off the Atlantic, taking more rain. Now, as we go through to day 10, which is Sunday, the 20th of October, this particular run of the GFS model then wants to start to try and sink that low pressure away to the south. And notice still generally block sort of conditions up to the north. So even if it does turn warmer or milder later next week, and it'll be very unsettled, I don't think we're going to be far away from this cold air coming back. As long as we keep this blocking up over Greenland and Iceland, the cold air will be threatening, and we may well have another go at us later in October. I wouldn't be at all surprised about that. The ECMWF, again, for early next week, we've got that blocking still dominating to the north of the east of the country. The low pressure is in the Atlantic, very similar to what the GFS does actually, which is that through next week we bring that weather front through, we bring the low pressure in, we collapse the heights away into central parts of Europe. So we turn it milder and unsettled winds go round to the south and the southwest. These areas of low pressure will be bringing bouts of rain in off the Atlantic, and that's how we go into day 10, again Sunday the 20th of October, bringing that low pressure through across the country. But whenever you have low pressure coming up against a blocking feature, you always have uncertainty, because the models are kind of pre-programmed to break down the block too quickly. That's the big idea behind blocking. The models want to re-establish a westerly wind, because that's the general, the normal pattern, if you like, and they'll tend to push the blocks out of the way too quick. So there has to be a bit of doubt, a bit of a health warning about these charts through the second half of next week. And actually the GEM, the Canadian model, does show that up. There's how we go into the start of next week, again we're blocking to the north and the east, below pressure in the west. What the GEM does, it eventually does trying to push this weather front through that's associated with that low pressure in the Atlantic, but it never really comes through with conviction. Notice how much blocking we keep up over Greenland and Iceland, and this area of low pressure here, very significant. That is the remains of the hurricane by day 10, Sunday the 20th. Looks like it's heading directly for us, so that could bring a really stormy spell if that was to be correct. But the main thing is that the blocking never goes away to the north or the east, and eventually that does look as though the east and northeast winds are beginning to push back by the 10th day, the 20th of October. So we have got to be careful about the weather later next week, how much of a breakdown we get from the west, how much we push that blocking away. Has to be a bit of uncertainty. Certainly up to Tuesday, it's staying pretty cool, and for the south, quite wet. Outbreaks of rain coming in off the Atlantic. Then the Atlantic's going to try and come in, and whether it comes in as the models are showing today, or whether there's some sort of a stall and the blocking ends up more influential, we're going to have to wait and see, as ever. That's it for now. Hope you found the video interesting. We'll be looking further ahead into October and November tomorrow with the updates for the JMA model and one or two other longer range models as well. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.